No, 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 no. When I call in, I don't sound sick. I don't do, yeah, boss, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it today. Okay, I tell them like it is. Look, I'm not coming in today, bro. Okay. No, no. But seriously, the rule is if you're going to call in, just sound regular. Bosses are trained to be like, wait a minute, he sounds sick. But anyone can fake sounding sick. So just sound regular. Just say this, ring, ring. Hi, I'm not coming in today. Belly's really, really, really upset. Okay, I'm going to go sit this one out. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Hello. Welcome. Well, now I'm not going to change my voice this time. Okay, let's get to it. Functions today in JavaScript. Stay out the shot. Yo, you gotta stay out the shot. I'm not gonna have to keep repeating myself. This is crazy. Functions within JavaScript. Okay, everyone, here we go. Let's do it. Get your code editor up and running. Visual Studio Code, that is. And let's go on ahead and get this started. Okay, seriously, you gotta listen to me. You gotta listen to me. I'm not gonna keep repeating. All right, so we want to create some basic functions within JavaScript. And the reason why we would actually create any actual functions is if we happen to continue to code, which we're going to see when we get to actual applications, when we're building more of a complex type of applications, you're going to notice that you might find yourself actually typing the same code over and over and over. For example, if you're actually processing something to get the area of or the volume of an actual cube, you don't want to have to keep writing that over and over and over. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to create some basic functions here, and just to get you a little more familiar with it. Okay, this is really more of an introduction to functions. So I believe the next portion of the series will be covering different types of functions, but for today, let's actually build some functions so you can get your toes wet. All right, so let's go on ahead and click the new file. And where am I at here? Let's go down here, new file, and we're going to call this basic function. There we go. I'm going to .html, and we are going to also have a basic function JavaScript file. Okay, and let's close this and actually reopen it and open this with live server. And we'll close that. That's good. And we can now minimize that. Let's get a bare bones HTML markup here. And today we're working with functions. If I can spell it, functions. Perfect. And what we can do here, let's just get a little bit of output, pretty similar to what we've been doing before. An H1 with an ID of output. Perfect. All right, now let's go to our JS file. Oh, let's add the JS file just to make sure that that's going to be linked here. So script and source and the actual file itself, basic function. That'll work. .js. Perfect. All right. Oh, and let's defer this as well to make sure that the markup or the HTML actually loads before the actual script. Now let's go here and let's figure out what we're going to do here. So the first function we're going to do here, we're just basically going to say, let's use the keyword function, and we're going to get the area of an actual box. Okay, so function is the keyword, and the name of the actual function is going to be called getArea. And what we're going to have here is a block of code, and that block of code between these curly braces here is going to process, is actually going to be the definition of our function. So our function is going to be a small program. And what we're going to have there are some actual parameters, because what happens is your function may need some data to work with, okay? And that data is going to come from an outside source. So let's say we're definitely going to need the width, and we're going to need the height. So these are going to be variables that will be able to be used strictly within the actual function itself, not outside down here, because we're not going to have any access to those because everything is scoped between the actual curly braces here. Okay, so we're going to actually have a width and a height, and these are the parameters of the function get area. And all of this, the more you actually create these, the easier it actually will become. But this is, again, this is more of an introductory phase where we're just going to say, okay, let's get our feet wet. Let's look and see what an actual function is in a programming language. And this language happens to be JavaScript, but this is also very similar to other languages like a Java or a C# or a PHP. So what are we going to do with the width? When we get the actual width, we are going to return a value. And what are we going to return? We're going to return the width times the height. Okay, so, and now with this here, we can call that. So now the actual JavaScript file, it knows that there's a function there that's going to process the width and the height, but it's not going to do anything until it's called. So now what we need to do is call that. And you know what? Let me actually open up the console as well. And we can use that here. What is this? Oh, we don't need that. So if I say get area, okay, doesn't do anything. Get area is not defined. I believe we are going to actually need the actual numbers here. So 4 and 4. And that doesn't work either. So let's see what we got going here. I got function, get area. And is this linked? Basic function, basic function. Okay. Get area 4 and 4. Well, let's actually try to call it within here and see what happens. We're going to try to figure out this actual error itself. If I call get area by actually calling it by using the name of the function, and if I use 3 and 3, or 3 and, yeah, 3 and 3, okay, that's still not going to do anything because we need to actually print that. So let me just console log that and see if that will work. Get area 3 and 3. All right, and let me comment this out and see what we get here, and still nothing. So let's refresh this. Who knows? Oh, there we go. I needed to refresh. All right, and we just double check within the console, get area with some type of numbers, 2 and 2, and I get 4 within the actual console. Okay. All right. So yeah, you know, you could pause the video and try to edit it out and stuff like that, but sometimes it's best to kind of see these things actually happen live. And in this case, I needed to refresh the actual extension live server, which is an extension of Visual Studio Code. All right. So going back here, here's the function definition itself. All right. I need the keyword function. And from there, I'm going to need the actual function name. If there are any parameters that the function will need that it's going to work with, then I place them right here, separate those with actual commas. Here's a return statement. Excuse me there. Here's a return statement, which is going to pretty much return the actual width times the height. And then I'm going to call that by doing this here. Now, what I could do to make this a little easier on the eyes, not really easier on the eyes, but I am calling it with different numbers here. So here I'm saying get the area of a box that has the dimensions 3 width and 3 height. Let result equal. So everything that's returned here, this processing here is going to be returned here, and that value is going to be within the value, the actual variable result. And now what I can do is just log result, just like that, and then we get that in the actual console itself. I do have some, there we go, I got an actual DOM element here, so let's go on ahead and actually place that here. And let's see here, I can do it at the top. I'll do it right at the top, why not? Let L output equal the document dot get element by ID, and the ID is called output. Okay, and then what we can do here is actually place the result of that here. So L output dot text content equals result. This way we can at least, this helps you kind of get used to actually putting things within the actual DOM itself. All right, so here you see it on the page, which that might be in a small portion of a website somewhere. Okay, so that works fine. I can comment this out and I can continue to actually, yeah, well, let's actually copy that and give it different types of numbers, or actually in the console, even better. So if you need to keep processing this, get area with, let's say 4 and 4, type it in there. If I want to plug in 4 and 40, okay, so you can keep calling this actual function with a number of different values. Okay, so you don't have to keep actually doing width times height, width times height. You just call it as many times as you would like and let the actual function do the work for you. Okay, so if I were to then add another one here and I put 30 and or 35 and 3, and you see 105, which is up there. If I wanted to make this look a little prettier, I can comment this out and use a, let's see, a template string here. So what we can do is say the area is width times height, just to make it look a little prettier. Okay, and okay, there we go. So the area is 105. So that's the result here. So it looks a little prettier over here. All right. Let's see. Let's do another one here. Let's say function get area with greeting. Now that's a long function name. I've been in places where function names were extremely long, but usually you kind of want the function name to kind of resemble what it's supposed to do. This one is pretty self-explanatory. It says get area with greeting. You don't have to worry about proper grammar or punctuation or anything like that. It's just a little, like a short little preview, okay? The one above said get area, so it gets the area. You're not going to have a function called go to the moon or spaceship, and then it processes the area of width and height. That would just be crazy. All right. So get area with greeting, and this is going to take in a name, the width, and the height. And what is it going to do? It's going to return hello name, you handsome W. Okay, and then we'll just have the area. The area is, or the area, the square. The square? Yeah, the square. The area, oh, the area of the square is, and this is where we'll use the width and the height. So times the height. Okay, and then we'll end that. And now all we have to do to make this work is, let's actually print it out. So let's comment this out so we don't get any crazy results. And this, and what we'll do is, oh, well, actually we can just use that. Perfect. Oh, well, actually that's going to return it. So what we can do here is call it, and we would call it by saying get area with greeting with, so what are the arguments here? What are we going to use? Okay, and when we go to the definition, all right, we say, okay, name, width, and height. So it takes in a name, and we're going to give it Aaron, and it takes, and notice I'm giving it Aaron as a string. Okay, and it takes in a width. I'm going to give it a width of 5, and I'm going to give it a height of 4. Okay, all right. And so now we called it. Still not going to do anything because there's nothing in here saying to print. I mean, if I had this, if I had something in here, like let's say console log. Oh, actually, I'll go back here. If I had something in here, like console log hi there, or we're inside. We are inside the function. Okay, so now what will happen is you'll notice that there is a message here. We are inside the function, which is also good for debugging purposes if you kind of want to know if anything happened, if the actual function was called at all. So here we clearly say, okay, we're calling the actual function, and then of course once we're inside the function, we're printing out this message right over here. Okay, so if I actually comment that out, now you don't see anything. The function still actually called, but let's actually console log it to the actual DOM. So let's say let result equal the return value. So what is this function actually doing? It's going to go here and it's going to return all of this. So let's see, let result equal that, and I need to console log the results. So console log result, and let's look up at the screen, and what do we have here? I see, what do we have here? I got hello Aaron, you handsome W. The area of the square is 20. So 5 times the 4, and it used Aaron, and it used 5 for the actual width, and it used 4 for the actual height. So that is good. That is good. I like that. I like the way that looks. That is only logging within the console. Let's also place that within the actual, using the actual elements. So output dot text content equals result. And now we have that wonderful, hello Aaron, you handsome W. The area of the square is 20. And that is 2 basic functions. We're going to cover more on functions, actually a lot more on functions. But again, you're just getting your toes wet. All right. You want to be able to see this stuff. Create some functions of your own. Play around with the actual functions. Create some actual variables that your actual function's going to use. Maybe you do something like let's say create an adding function where you would say something like, okay, function add 2 numbers. Okay, and then have the actual function take in 2 actual parameters. And then what are you going to do with those? Okay, you can just say maybe a plus b equals something, or return a plus b, and that'll actually work right there. So you want to practice building small functions like this. So when we get to the classes and methods and objects, and you just want to continue to actually build different types of programs. Miniature, and this is a small miniature program. So now if I call this add 2 numbers and give it numbers, we'll say 5 and 4. All right, 5 and 5. Final answer. Okay, so now what we have here is we are returning a plus b, but we don't see anything here. So let's just log it to the console. Console.log, and I'll put the entire function in the log statement so we can see it there. And here's your answer, 10. If I want to change that, okay, because what did it do? It took in 5 for A, it took in 5 for B, and it added A plus B and returned it. It returned it to what was calling it. What's calling it? The actual console log statement. So create these things, create these miniature programs, because once you do that, you're going to start noticing, okay, here's 26 lines of code. But when we actually start to building applications and building miniature programs or miniature applications, you're going to notice that these lines and files are going to get extremely large, and we're going to need to sort those. We're going to need to, have a nice structure with those. But you want to be familiar with the actual each line that's going on. And the only way you're going to build your JavaScript skills is to continue to practice and practice and practice. Yes, you can look at the actual code here, and you can slow it down, speed up the video, and do a YouTube search. And go to a number of other channels as well. But you want to be able to go to other channels, including mine, and see how everyone else is doing different things. Okay, and then of course your style of programming is going to evolve. Okay, so questions, comments, or concerns, go on ahead and leave them in the comment. Email me directly if need be. And of course, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification so you can get additional information on the material of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, and MySQL when those videos actually come out as well. All right, Full Stack is out. Enjoy.